Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the podcast. My name is Sarjeet Singh, and today's episode focuses on Indigenous music and storytelling. We'll be exploring Wolastoqiyik Yuk artist Jeremy Dutcher and his powerful performance of the song Machinu. In this episode, I'll talk about who Jeremy Dutcher is and what makes his performance meaningful, and how his work helps preserve First Peoples language and culture. To begin, let's talk about who Jeremy Dutcher is. Jeremy Dutcher is a Wolastoqiyik Yuk, also known as Mali Seep, musician from New Brunswick, Canada. He's classically trained in opera and piano, but instead of using his education only for Western music, he uses it to protect Indigenous culture. One of the most unique parts of his work is that he uses archival recordings of his ancestors singing in Wolastoqiyik Yuk language. This language is endangered, meaning fewer people speak it today. By bringing these voices into modern music, Dutcher helps keep the language alive and introduces it to new audiences. Now let's move on to the performance itself and why Machinu is so powerful. In this song, Dutcher builds the music around recordings of his ancestors. One movement that stands out is when ancestors' voice repeats a line and Dutcher sings it back. This creates the feeling of conversation across time. It makes listeners feel that the past is still connected to the present. The performance also uses repetition, which strengthens the emotional impact of the song. There's also contrast between the older, rough recordings and Dutcher's clear modern vocals. This contrast highlights how Indigenous culture has survived through generations while adapting to new forms. Before we continue, here's a quick message from today's sponsor. This episode is supported by the First Peoples Culture Council, an organization that works to protect and revitalize Indigenous languages, arts, and culture across Canada. Their programs help communities keep their traditions alive for future generations. Learn more about Indigenous language preservation and how you can support culture revitalizations today. Now back to the episode. Let's look at how this performance connects strongly to the First Peoples language, traditions, and values. This performance connects strongly to First Peoples languages, tradition, and values. Language plays a major role in Indigenous identity because it carries stories, history, and knowledge. By singing in Wolastoqiyik, Jeremy Dutcher is showing respect for his ancestors and protecting cultural traditions. He does not simply repeat the past, he builds on it. He adds piano and classical elements to make the music more accessible to modern listeners. This helps people who may not be familiar with Indigenous culture understand its importance. Jeremy Dutcher's main goal is to preserve language and share Indigenous stories. Through his performance, he sends the message that culture is not something frozen in the past. Instead, it is living and growing. His music allows Indigenous voices to be heard and respected in today's world. To conclude, Jeremy Dutcher's performance of Machinu is powerful because it connects history, language, and modern music into one meaningful piece. By blending traditional recordings with contemporary sound, he helps keep Indigenous culture alive and relevant. His work reminds us that the voices of the past still matter and deserve to be heard. Thank you for listening to today's episode. In the next episode, we will continue exploring how Indigenous performers use art music to share their stories and identities. See you next time.